Hello, and welcome everyone to the Sports Doin. I'm Kushagr, and today we're here to have a Premier League preview for the sixth game week of the Premier League. Matches are coming thick and fast, and as we speak on a Champions League night, we've got two Champions League clubs, as playing out the highlight game of this weekend. When United host Chelsea, as far as this Premier League is concerned, as luck would have it, United are just in the bottom half of the Premier League, and Chelsea, Vijay would be far from content or happy with how things are going with Chelsea. They've also had a mixed bag of a season. They still have a lot of players that are trying to gel into the team, so that could be an issue. And but for that, we'll first start with the United lads. We'll start with Anurag. Anurag, it's a marquee game of the week. We'll start with the results from yesterday. The first game week of the Champions League, wherein Chelsea hosted Sevilla, and I must confess, a lot of people have taken this as a negative result for Chelsea. But just have a look at the record for Sevilla in the last couple of years, if not more. They beat United in 2018 in the Champions League. 2019, they end up in the second, 1920 season, they end up winning the Europa League after beating United and Inter in the semi-final and the final of the Europa League. They were very, very, very close to winning the European Super Cup.
Yep.
Bayern really had to pull out the stops at the end. And
Martinez.
yes,
Yeah.
and as far as the match is concerned, yesterday Chelsea, faced a very strong Sevilla side. And mind you, this was a Chelsea side which has had zero confidence in its defense. So for them to actually get a clean sheet, and as Vijay mentioned in an earlier video, this is the first time Lampard had a nil-all result in his Chelsea reign. So how do you see them shaping up for this match? We'll talk about the United result a little later.
Yeah, so just talking surely about Chelsea right now. Yeah, I think one thing people don't give Sevilla a lot of credit is they go by history and they consider them still to be a mediocre club just from a mediocre league. Sevilla are a magnificent team right now under a fantastic manager, a manager I've personally really admired. He's taken some bad decisions in his life into professionally, due to which he's suffered himself. So there's no leeway there. And but now he's finally back on track. Lopetegui winning the Europa League was a really good story for me. But again, now I think this is a season he really has to look at the La Liga and just looking at the way they played yesterday, I think Sevilla could have done. I think they could have gone on and they could have picked up those 3 points. I was following three games yesterday night. It was really difficult. I was obviously watching the United game. I was also watching Dortmund game just to see how Sancho was playing, because I think United fans do
Because
remember a
PTSD
player.
PTSD isn't good enough for you.
Yeah. I think Sancho was a player we anyways never rated very highly. So yeah,
Yeah, of
so
course.
yeah,
Who is
so
he?
and some player, yeah, ignore. So again, I was also trying to watch bits and pieces of Chelsea. I didn't watch it a lot, but again, of what we could see, Sevilla, I think they're a very organized team right now, and against that team, obviously, defense was always going to be a challenge. And as Vijay was mentioning, I think there was a little more confidence that Mendy was, between the sticks there. So again, if that
It
sort of
has stunk. It has been stinking. Mendy's got to clean up the sticks.
I'm very sorry. That's not the word I really intended. I just came out. So yeah,
Kepa is too.
yeah. So again, if he starts and if Chelsea's defensive line is again going to be as confident as they were yesterday, I think they could be posing. And United's front line, I think we've seen it yesterday against PSG. There were so many good chances that should have been a 5-1 United. And I'm not saying it as a fan. People who have seen that game, they could have, how many one-on-one chances. And Amad Diallo, of all the people, I mean, yeah, he's been putting in some decent performance, but still sort of an unknown commodity. I think he literally locked both Martial and Rashford down. And it's just a number of times they've missed those chances. Off the top of my head, I can think the four chances they should have really buried them in. And yeah, if they again do that sort of, Marcel is not there anyway. So yeah, is Cavani available?
Yeah, yeah.
Cavani is available. Cavani's fitness might be under issue, so he might not start.
Yeah, again, just a small thing that I wanted to add. My grandmother always tells me about the story of how, when she was a kid, when she saw a bulb glow for the first time in their village. Yesterday, when I saw Telus cross the ball, that's how I felt.
Oh.
I'm not kidding.
You
Every
want to
time.
waste that analogy on this, but okay.
No, no, no. Please, it's. I'm not exaggerating it.
No, no,
Yesterday
it's
in
a
a
good
United group,
analogy,
That's
but
how
yeah.
yeah.
dark it was before.
Yesterday in
Yeah.
a United group, everyone was like, "Bro, that zip on the ball, bro, how is that ball curving, bro? My good, trust me, people were literally fapping over just the banana that the curve was coming in. I was not kidding. I myself was going gaga over that.
Fapping and bananas. I think we've gone on to a we've
Okay,
gone on to a
okay,
different
that
we are we
conversation
are
now.
we are a sports
unintentional
channel
Yeah,
starved of
yeah, yeah.
porn.
unintentional
That team has been for.
unintentional
But
innuendo.
it was
Yeah,
beautiful. It was beautiful.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's
Again, if
absolutely
that sort of
fantastic
a
for
again,
Dallas.
if
Yes.
Tellus,
I think
fabulous addition,
not
fabulous
since
addition. I know
not
Liverpool are
since
very used to fullbacks who cross the ball. Sorry, we are not. We saw a bulb glow for the first time yesterday, and we were really happy with it. And we hope that bulb keeps enlightening us tomorrow as well. I mean, the game against Chelsea,
Yep.
whenever the video comes out. So, yeah,
so
I,
yeah.
I think I'm expecting a little from that side. I don't know if he'll go for a back three again. Come on, not against Lampard. I think the FA Cup semi final was a decent enough. What do you say? Uh, and a lesson for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to not go for a back three. I think the diamond worked really well. I know
yeah.
people were really really upset when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer took out again. PE teacher, kya kar raha hai? To Alex Telles is playing so well. Why did you take him out for Pogba? That really worked out well. I think United was so good on the ball yesterday. I think I know it might seem a little bit of exaggeration, but they were much far better than what PSG played yesterday. PSG looked like uh, a very bad mid-table French league team, literally a mid-table French league team. That's how they looked yesterday. They're far. I mean, they're capable. They're capable of doing better with
Yeah,
obviously with the names that they have. Their midfield was shit. Their defense was fairly decent. Those two centre backs did well. Otherwise, PSG was shit yesterday. We
yeah.
should have done a lot better. That's the only concern. If we are not taking those chances again, Chelsea would
To be,
that could turn out to be a
yeah.
bad
To be
experience.
to be fair to PSG, they were playing away from home, so that's okay. I mean, they're playing at Rashford's home, right? They weren't playing at their home ground. So yeah, that's all right. But
Okay,
yeah,
No,
that
but
is a
I don't know
long
how
one.
but
much.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
But
yeah.
yeah,
So but yeah,
yeah, yeah. Okay,
coming
okay,
to
okay, 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 okay,
yeah,
okay,
Yeah,
boys. Okay, boys.
drifting.
yeah,
Before we end up drifting more, my question to Anurag was around Chelsea. So well done, buddy.
Yeah.
Completely, we've done the United analysis now. So I'll
yeah,
come to the Chelsea fan here, Vijay. What do you see? What do you see for this match? I know these guys have spoken a lot about PSG versus United, and I will come to it right after this. But I want to focus on the nil-all with Sevilla
Yeah.
that Chelsea managed to get yesterday, and I want to focus on what do you think will Frank Lampard's starting lineup be, and how do you think will he tactically adapt to this match, or will he play his? He plays a 4-2-3-1, right?
he's
Yeah.
been
In
trying to
most
do that.
games,
Yep.
right? Like with Werner either on the left wing or up top, depending on Tammy's position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how do you see him matching? Do you see him matching up Ole for with the formation when it comes to five at the back, or do you see him sticking to his guns and going for what worked in the
That's
FA Cup?
Yeah, but that's the thing. This season is completely different for Lampard, and you can't compare it to the last meeting with Ole because his players, his squad, is completely new. I think this Sevilla game after Ziyech was substituted in was the first time that the six signings that Chelsea made this season have played together in the squad.
Yeah.
So that's how new the squad is for Lampard. So I don't even know, whether I believe based on the squad that he has, the 4-2-3-1 is the long-term goal. But like I said, given United and how plucky they are in the last two games, he might try something new. I remember these tricky games against big opposition. Lampard likes to play three at the back and do something surprising. And actually, at Sevilla, he did something similar where I can't really explain it. Where he played Pulisic as the right winger and Mount as the left winger, which, from what I saw, really limited our attack. And Timo Werner was quite left alone in the front. And even though, so like I said, with United, it's like which Chelsea defense is going to show up. If
Yeah.
Thiago Silva does play, Chelsea usually do sit deep because I think Silva can't do the running. But if he doesn't play, then what we end up doing is we have a two-man defense playing in the halfway line, and the ball keeps pinging around in their defense. And United love the counter attack, so that's again Chelsea 2019. So the problem is, if we do sit deep, our midfield gets overrun and our attack gets blunted. And unfortunately, our attack is the best thing that we have in this team right now. So it's going to be a tricky thing for Lampard to call, but I still think he's going to do the 4-2-3-1 and maybe put on Kovacic instead of Jorginho, just so that we'll have some more physical presence and proper passing in the midfield.
I think the biggest dilemma for both the managers, right? Because Ole would be someone who would be probably be fine with sitting back, playing a little deeper line, because then it
Hmm.
doesn't allow the likes of Timo Werner to actually get in behind the defense, and with Wanzebe coming back and looking actually pretty good, it makes a lot of sense for United to slightly sit deeper. We have a good counter-attacking system that works for United, but that is something that I don't think Lampard would encourage United. He might himself want to be a little pragmatic on in that sense. Not fall into the
A
United trap.
nil-nil draw with
Yeah,
United is a positive result, to be honest.
yeah. So it might be, it might start being a very cagey affair. With both teams actually being slightly more worried about what the opponent might do than what they themselves can do. But I think one positive thing that we did see from United, not just in the PSG game, but probably in the last few minutes of the Newcastle game as well, that United were being very proactive. They were pressing high. They were getting the ball high up the field. They were putting in those tackles. They knew when to trigger the press. I think with United, and what we have talked before as well, with Kushagr and Anurag specifically, is that we do not know when to trigger the press. We do not know when to pass out from the back. And I think that is something that has really eluded us even during Ole's era. But I think in the last couple of games, probably could say 100, 115 minutes of football, what we have seen is that trigger is being managed pretty well. I think for that midfield diamond actually helps because all the talk about unleashing Pogba and Pogba playing good on the left hand side for Juventus and etc. But I think it makes Pogba a little freer. It doesn't keep him a little bogged to the center of the pitch. That helps Paul Pogba himself. We saw how massive
Just
Fred
to
was. Yeah,
brighten the scope, it's Ole versus Lampard, and both of them are rookie managers. As
yeah.
fans of each thing, do you really see the long-term vision of both of these managers? Like, what is the style of football that they want to play? Do you have that idea? Because for Frank
Yeah.
Lampard, I don't. It's very confusing for me.
I think with Ole, you can see in big games that he has a certain plan in mind, and the way as a lot of people have been calling Ole the PE teacher and stuff like that. But I think Kushagra rightly said in the last video that we wouldn't be shocked if Ole came up with a plan for this game because he does this against big teams. He knows how to trigger a result out. He knows how to get his men ready, and I think that is something that I've seen for a long time now. With the problem with United has been in possession, that there hasn't been enough proactiveness on the ball. It's more side to side. It's more rather non-direct kind of football that United have played on possession. But with Ole, I can see that what can come up in the future. With Lampard, to be honest, I do not know what is the brand of football he is still going to look at. But obviously, yeah, the six signings who have come in now, it will take time for them to settle in. It will take time for the likes of Kai Havertz, Hakim Ziyech, Timo Werner to be all in full flow, and that is when we'll actually see what Chelsea have in store going forward, in store off the ball, in store with defense. They obviously need some recruitment on that side, but there will be a lot of clarity on whether Chelsea would be going down the right path or not. With United, you can slightly see there is a path, but that path keeps on having its potholes in between. So there is that little pragmatic approach that both fans might actually have at this point of time.
No, I don't. I don't think. I don't. I don't entirely agree with Prathamesh.
Yeah,
We'll
again,
come on
just
to.
yeah,
We'll
just a
come on
small
to.
point.
We'll
Just a
come on
small
to.
point. Yeah,
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 yeah, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, again, what Prathamesh was trying to, he has a game plan for these few big games, but that's not what we want, right? It's a
Yeah.
plan that's
Yeah, that's
needed.
what I was
It's
meant.
it's a
Yeah.
structure that's needed, and as it stands, I think I'm with Vijay. It's still very confusing as to what Ole really wants from this side. I'm confused, honestly.
So yeah, I think we've justifiably established, Sushil, that both fans of both the clubs are confused with what the manager approach to the game is. I feel that both the managers are at completely different ends of the spectrum. Both of them had been set out the task of qualifying for the Champions League with the squads they had at the beginning of the season. Ole Solskjaer got two essential additions to his squad with Maguire and Van Bissaka. Daniel James, for as much as every other commentator might want to hype him up, his incredible start to his United career, all he did was score three goals. It wasn't an incredible start. United didn't even win all three of those games. So I don't understand that ridiculous bullshit that people keep talking about. But yeah, so he had essentially two additions to the squad. Lampard did not get anything for the entire season, and Lampard finished fourth on goal difference. Ole finished third on goal difference. If you ask any Chelsea or United fan, the beginning of last season, where would your club finish? Chelsea fans would have just been happy that Lampard is there. At least the toxicity is gone from the club. We can actually, come together and support the club as one. And during that course of season, they found out that they had a pretty half decent manager there who, in at least in many of the fixtures, held his own and developed the style of play to an extent with whatever limitations he had. Now what is happened? But he had defensive priorities. Now we've seen, Sushil. We've talked about, I know we always harp on to Pep, but we've talked about coaches who are extremely good at attacking coaches, but
Yep.
lack defensive management skills. What's important then for coaches is to bring in assistants in such a manner who will complement their game and try to devise a defensive strategy in consonance with their attacking play. That is somewhere maybe Frank Lampard needs to work on, because I think he's a very intelligent person to begin with. I think he's one of the best pundits when he was there on television, and in general also his analysis of the game. I have not seen him talk bullshit. Even when he in the post match press conference he comes out, he's pissed off. He doesn't want to go at at his own players, but it does talk sense. So I do agree that he gets a lot of support because of the English bias in the media. But that's just the English media. I'm talking about it sitting here in India. So that's one on Lampard. We come to Ole Solskjaer, and I'm sorry it's a long winding question here, Sushil. So
I'm
uh,
listening.
yeah, Ole Solskjaer. So many people talk about him getting these jammy results and getting these victories because just because they sit and they counter and they win and not knowing what kind of football he wants to play and everything in and beyond that. If you if you sat down and had a look at his results from when he took over as a caretaker manager, when it was not his squad, when he started moving out players or look at least asking for different players, and he didn't get whom he wanted, but he at least started asking for players that he wanted. How he has managed is he has always performed well, barring that Tottenham result in a big match. When it comes to a big name manager, when it comes to a big name opposition, he's been able to set his team out, let's set his stall out, because since Sir Alex Ferguson's left, even towards the last 3 years of Sir Alex Ferguson, United had already started transitioning towards a counter-attacking side. They did not have the midfield capability of controlling games. Michael Carrick was aging. They never replaced Michael Carrick, and they had people like Tom Cleverley doing a job. They moved Park Ji Sung to the middle, played the twins Rafael and Fabio. Sometimes this is with Sir Alex I'm talking about. Post Sir Alex, they tried moving Shinji Kagawa there. Couldn't. Tried getting in Bastian Schweinsteiger, Schneiderlin. Now we have Fred, McTominay. So I mean, the list goes on. They've not had controllers in the midfield. Because of that, United have developed a style of counter-attacking. And this is the long winding question. You look out for his stats. Alongside Jurgen Klopp, he's the best performing manager in the top six, between the top six. Alongside Jurgen Klopp, he's got the best win percentage and best number of points gained and everything else. He struggles when it comes to teams who sit, but he has Not even once in any window has he ever been backed with the choices that he's had. Probably Aaron Van Bissaka is the only choice, first choice player
Probably,
he's
yeah,
got.
Van Bissaka
He's
and Bruno.
gotten no, yeah, Bruno Fernandes. Again, United got Bruno Fernandes 6, 7 months
Yeah.
later than what he wanted, so that definitely impacted last season. So he's had two players that he's wanted as first choice. He's gone through four transfer windows. Lampard's gone through three transfer windows in which he had to be inactive for two and active for one. He's just gotten his, I don't know,
Is
like
your
a
question whether
truckload for the
Lampard
players.
or Ole is better?
No.
No.
My
Okay.
question is, why are opinions on both these managers so blinkered that
Hmm.
when Solskjaer gets a result at PSG, that will eventually be chalked up as something when it was clear domination of Paris Saint-Germain by United.
Right.
The first
Right.
half United were better for a period of 20 minutes in the second half from the second half whistle till United made that Pogba change. PSG
Right.
definitely were in command of the game. Their goal was as jammy as it gets, and apart from that, they have made a couple of really good saves. Apart from
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
for good 60-65 minutes of the game, they were second best by a mile, and that happened to City thrice last year. That happened to Chelsea thrice last year. That happened to Tottenham last year. That happened to a lot of big teams, last year, and it will continue to happen with the way he plays. It will continue to happen to teams this year as well. How do you see the criticism these managers get vis-a-vis the backing they've gotten and vis-a-vis what they bring to the table when it comes to our style of play?
So I think there are two things to keep in mind here, right? The first thing is that Manchester United is commercially the largest club in the world, which means that they usually have a lot of money to play around with. The reason they've underperformed since Alex Ferguson left is not because they haven't performed in big games, though that has also been a problem at times. It's not that they haven't been able to get one up on Liverpool or City or these clubs on and off. That's not the reason why. The reason why Manchester United has not come back up over all these years is because they drop points to smaller teams. No one is questioning Ole's ability to grind out a result or outsmart Thomas Tuchel in a Champions League group stage game. We That can happen, and at the end of the day, those things are down to tactical decisions he makes. Prior to the game, how he sets up his team. But the problem was never that. The problem in Ole's case is that he, whether through his own failings or the failings of the club in terms of the recruitment they've done, has been unable to put together a team week in, week out that picks up 3 points. Right? I think that's been the biggest gap. Look. Obviously, I'm not a United fan, so my opinion is coming as a neutral or a rival fan. I think he's a good manager. But do I see him taking you guys all the way? I've said this before. I don't. I think he can do it on these special nights. He's a manager who can outsmart smart another, but he's also equally likely to be outsmarted by the other manager at times, right? And that tends to happen more when it's smaller teams, when he's not the underdog, maybe. So that's on Ole. On Lampard, I think I mentioned earlier in the season that I was quite impressed with Lampard in terms of what he did last season without any transfers, and that I'd be really interested to see what he does now, given that he has all these players with him. Um, I think the issue with Lampard is more along the lines of he's not had enough time to, get these players integrated into the squad. That's partially it. Do I think he's tactically naive? No. I think Klopp's teams conceded a lot of goals when he started off integrating these new players. So did Guardiola's. So I think that's a natural process. I think Ole has been at the club for what now? 3 years? 2 years?
No, no, no,
Two
no.
years.
2 years?
No, he's
Almost
coming
2 years.
up to
Yeah.
two, coming up to two
Yeah.
years this December. If you
So,
again,
so I,
you're counting the
yeah.
counting the
Fair enough.
caretaker, right?
I think maybe at this point people should start raising the expectations from him, right? Maybe he's shown flashes of it, which is what Klopp showed too. If you remember the Liverpool Dortmund game, or
Yeah.
even the first season with City and Guardiola, there
With
you start
Chelsea as
seeing
well.
flashes. Yeah, But after a couple of seasons, it needs to turn into something more consistent, something more structured. You as a fan, you shouldn't be going into every game thinking, "Man, this is a banana peel. We may drop points to Brighton. We may drop points to Newcastle." And you didn't. If you remember last week's review, I was saying I'm not sure what's going to happen in Newcastle United, and you guys actually won pretty comfortably, right? But then, does that mean that after the Chelsea game, I don't know, assuming you play someone like Brighton or Burnley or something like that, would you be confident enough to say they're going to win it? I don't know, right? And I think till Ole gets the club to a point where those things are fairly, certain. Obviously, you lose games on enough, but you're not going into every weekend thinking, "Man, I don't know what's going to happen here."
Yeah.
I think that's when you know he's taken the club back to maybe where they belong.
Yeah, and I think it's a combination of multiple factors there as well. I think you know you know the, so that's it's a funny part. I think to an extent managers are also overrated in football. The impact of just the
Yeah,
manager on the playing style of a squad, or the team environment, or the selection of players or the performance of players. I think to an extent that everything is leveled at their feet is just I feel that's unfair on every manager, not just with Ole Solskjaer.
right.
And once again, I don't like to be blinkered and don't like to take a position here. I just find criticism for undeserving people just ridiculous. Because if you had given me a third place finish last year, I wouldn't have just taken your hands. Like, I would have just pulled you
Right.
through the camera and brought
Right.
you home. Because there was no bloody way United were going to finish third when the transfer window ended in August last year. There was no way. Because and also you lose Pogba within 3 game weeks. You lose Martial for half a season. When he comes back, you lose Rashford. Don't have Bruno. So all of that combined, there was no way they're finishing third. So this is the point I keep coming back to. When you fulfill expectations in any job, Sushil, if you're
Yeah.
told you reach a certain sales level as a salesman, and
Yeah.
you cross that barrier and you're still not given a bonus, what will you do the next year? Or you're still not given a
That's fair enough. That's
better
fair enough.
say you're a
I think.
pizza delivery guy. You
Yeah.
deliver pizzas on a bike. They tell you
Yeah.
that we'll give you a three wheeler, and they don't give you a three wheeler.
I
It's
think
like that. Or like, I'm
That
not even
doesn't help.
talking about a four wheeler.
yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
even talking about a four wheeler. I'm talking about a fucking three wheeler. They don't even give you that. So
I
yeah,
think you're
enough of
right. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just to wrap up the point, maybe I think your criticism of Ole is probably valid, but I will also say, as a rival fan, a lot of that tends to come from the United fan base itself.
Yes, yes.
I have
It's
not
horribly
seen,
divided. It's
yeah,
It's
horribly.
incredibly divided.
It's
Yes,
toxic.
I
It's
I
I
it's
have
incredibly
I
situational.
toxic.
wouldn't
I
wish.
It's
remember
very
you said.
situational.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
remember
wouldn't
you
wish.
said
I
that.
wouldn't wish.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sorry, I
yeah,
remember
Vijay,
you said
sorry.
that
yeah.
Lampard coming in has removed the toxicity of the club.
yeah.
Actually,
I
it
would have thought.
hasn't.
I thought that must have been the thought process going into the last
Yeah.
season,
Yeah,
right?
in the sense, I mean, it removed one kind of toxicity, and now we have it like
different
we
sort of thing.
we we took care of AIDS, and now we have cancer. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
So
and just
yeah,
to just to finish
You
on this
had
point.
brilliant
Yeah,
analogies in this one, huh?
just to finish on the point that we are talking about the negativity within the clubs. Yesterday, after the United victory, today in the morning, I read in a particular group of mine. I read a message that said, this is exactly the kind of performance that shows why Aaron Van Bissaka should be replaced. I'm like, I mean, sorry, can I get a better explanation of this? And then it was about his attacking intentions. I don't understand
Oh God.
why
Yeah,
if Aaron Van Bissaka is doing his defending properly, that did help other players to actually do better going forward and actually, you know, tear PSG apart in so many ways. I don't understand what the whole. I understand that every team wants to have a Trent Alexander-Arnold as
yeah.
right back,
Alexander Arnold
and
सबको खराब करके रख दिया अभी. Yeah,
exactly. But
everyone wants. Yeah,
let me educate those people. Not every player is Trent Alexander-Arnold. Not every manager is going to expect a fullback like that. Aaron Van Bissaka defensively is probably will leaps and bounds ahead in that sense, and he showed it yesterday. He and Axel Tuanzebe in the combination showed it yesterday what they are good at. And a manager can only push players to do so much in situations where they are developing still. But if a players when if all the players who are in the 11 play actually to what they are good at, it actually helps the manager, and they did it yesterday. I don't know. There is some unwarranted anti-Ole agenda also amongst United fans, which
Yeah.
I personally don't
Yeah,
buy at all.
I don't think. See, I think it's fair. Like I think we'll wrap this up with Vijay and get his
Hmm.
predictions and all of your predictions as well for this match. Before we just have a quick look at the other weekend fixtures. With all due respect
Right.
to all other matches, none of them are as big on a global scale as this one.
Yeah,
Vijay, Prathamesh talks about that, and you also mentioned, you've got a different kind of a divide now. I'm sure,
Yeah.
because it must be, as a Chelsea fan, it's sacrilegious for you to think that you would want, anything bad to do with Lampard, right? Like he's the ultimate, club legend. But
Yeah.
you've got to disassociate that with him as a manager of the club and see where he is taking forward with the group of players that now he's been bestowed upon. Uh, just as a final verdict on him, I mean, are you entirely sure that you do not see a system? What is a criticism, if there is, of Lampard from you? I mean, do you think he changes his tactics as per to suit different matches or to suit different teams, or do you think he doesn't adapt well enough to these teams and gets found out on that sense?
No, so just to be clear, I love Lampard. It's just
Yeah,
the expectation. So, like you said, the dissociation. There's a dissociation between the performances, Lampard, and the expectations that the fan base has. So we have pumped in X amount of money. We have, so last time that happened, Jose Mourinho won the league 2 times running and broke a lot of records. Is that going to happen this time? Please, no. So don't expect that. And what we're seeing here is Lampard, who's just managed one club before this. So he is a
yeah.
rookie manager by all definitions. I think
Just 1 year
somebody,
in management.
yeah, and yesterday was his first nil-nil result. So there's a lot of ridiculous things coming on. But what I'd like to say is, when Lampard was expressing his own beliefs, right? I think Rio Ferdinand had an interview with him at Cobham, and asked him like, "What do you see as the Chelsea style of play that you want to imbibe?" And he said, "I want to do a pressing system, etc." And you see how we were having a 2-0 lead against Southampton the last time we had in the Premier League, and we lost that.
Yeah,
And it's that when we don't have the ball, we look pretty clueless. Yes, the defense was bad in many occasions, and a lot of individual errors were involved in the goals we conceded. But the game management of our squad is something that is so, I mean, aren't they getting training to do that? Do they not know how to hang on to a 2-0 lead? Is that something like, do you know when to press? And I think that's the difference between a rookie manager and a manager who knows what he wants from his team. Like you said, Trent Alexander-Arnold is like the new benchmark for a brilliant right back or a full back. Same way Jurgen Klopp and Guardiola are these new managers that have come and then imprinted their stamp. I don't know whether Lampard is going to be one of those, but I know he's trying to be that. But at the end of the day, he is currently somewhere a little bit above a Harry Redknapp, and that's the hard fact of it all. And to expect Guardiola's results with a Harry Redknapp level of experience, it's going to be difficult.
yeah, yeah. I gotta get that. And as far as the match over the weekend is concerned, how do you think that will go? How do you think do you think Chelsea will walk away with the result, or
I
even a
do.
victory in that sense? Because considering United's horrific home record, because they've lost both the matches that they've played at home as of now in the Premier League.
I'm making this prediction from a hopeful phase because I think what Lampard and Ole have on each other is unpredictability, and that's that's because they probably nobody knows what they're going to do. But I'd say we win just 2-0 based on the fact that our attack is really clicking the last time we had a Premier League match. So if we can have the first half of Southampton and the second half of Sevilla, then I think we can win a 2-0.
Okay, Sushil, what about you? How do you see that match going?
I'll go with a one-all draw. Chelsea have not won in 7 visits to Old Trafford. Sorry, they've not won in 7 visits to Old Trafford. So I don't see that changing anytime soon. I think Ole will protect his home turf, maybe go a little defensive, and Chelsea might get blunted because of that.
Prathamesh.
Yeah, if we play a back 3-5, whatever you call it, I would three
Hmm.
if we go do that. Four at the back seems a little iffy for me right now, but I think I would go 2-1 United. I don't think any both of those teams are capable of a clean sheet right now, but 2-1 United.
All right, Anurag.
Um,
The
realis-
prediction for the realistic prediction for United versus Chelsea.
Realistically, it has to be. I mean, see again. What I think one thing that we've decided upon is there's no uh, in different ways. Both teams are sort of on the same level for different reasons. So I think ideally this should be a one-all draw sort of a thing. Where it should not be a clean sheet. If it's a clean sheet for both sides, I think that's going to be incredibly surprising. So I think I'm going with a one-one draw for in this one, which could be slightly boring. That's what I'm
Same
saying.
as me, bro.
Yep.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, yeah. I'd hope it's not a boring dud one all draw in that sense. But let's see, let's see. I see goals in this match. I see a lot of goals in this match. I see it being a high scoring one, and let's hope.
I
Let's hope. Yeah, sorry.
I was gonna say I'm also gonna take a guess on who's gonna score Chelsea's goal. It's gonna be Timo Werner.
Yeah, it might as well
Hmm.
I
be
think we
him.
might get a Hakim Ziyech start for the first time.
Yeah, I think it's bound to happen now, isn't it? I think I feel it could be a 3-2 sort of a fixture. It could
Yeah,
Right.
3-2, one by the odd goal, and
I can predict one thing that will definitely not happen. That is United scoring off a corner.
oh well, if Telles plays, you never know. He played very well with his set piece deliveries
He
last
got
night.
How
So
the
yeah,
curvy is the
foot to
banana?
cross.
yeah. The curvaceous bananas. So anyway, guys, we're about to wrap up soon. Just a quick look at the other fixtures, and the one that possibly stands out to us is the Arsenal Leicester match. Leicester have been stumbling. Arsenal did lose their last match. So how do you see that one going? Leicester lost to Aston Villa. Susheel, I don't know how much do you rate Aston Villa at that point, because they have won 4 out of 4 as a start to the
Yeah,
Premier League, and amongst those four it is a Liverpool win and a Leicester win. So it's not been a bad start to their league. So
not at
how do
all.
you rate Leicester going in? I think we've discussed extensively about Arsenal, but how do you rate Liverpool going in?
This
No, sorry,
season's
Leicester going in.
just yeah,
Leicester going
sorry.
into the match.
Yeah, this season's just weird. It's hard to make a prediction because the only informed teams are what Aston Villa and Everton, and everyone else seems to just I don't know. I'm pretty sure whatever prediction I make for this game is going to be wrong. So I'm gonna go safe and say 1-1. Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
What dud results, bro? Like you're gonna go 1 all for every result.
Okay, okay.
I'll
If
stop coming to you for previews.
no, no, no.
Go
Okay,
with
okay. I'll take
He's
I'll
daring
take
him
a.
to come up with a better prediction.
I
Uh,
am
yeah,
Come
go ahead.
on.
Sorry, Prathamesh. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I just feel that this is. I just whenever I think about Arsenal Leicester, I remember two goals. One is
Yeah,
the Danny Welbeck goal at Emirates. I mean that moment was absolutely bonkers. The second one I remember was Jamie Vardy's goal last season. With Madison, Vardy, and the way they linked up, etc. And I feel that Leicester have got enough in them to grind out a result like that.
Yep.
But Arsenal going forward in a game like against Leicester might produce more than they did against Liverpool. So probably go with a 2-2 or a 3-2 to Leicester rather than Arsenal. I expect Leicester to win if any team wins actually.
Do let Sulaksh know about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'll get him on the pod next week, and he can respond to that. Whatever
Yeah.
Prathamesh said.
Yeah.
Another match that we'll be having a sort of a close look at is the resurgent West Ham, Anurag. The Lenzini-led West Ham against a Pep Man City team. Do you think Man City going away to the imposing Olympic Stadium in London, with all those fake claret, grass patch covers and everything else, will how will West Ham fare? Do you think They still have a few performances in them.
I've been watching West Ham a bit more closely than I've done in the last few years, and again, that's a team that has no clarity. Yes, they've been a bit confident on the ball going forward, and yes, they've gotten some goals. Yes, they've there's a 3-0, there's a 2-0, there are some good wins against good teams, but again, there is no clarity on how they're going to play. It's more situational. So again, they are going to play on the counters, and City have been vulnerable to counters. So by any chance, by any means, Pep Guardiola cannot take this for granted. They have goals because Mikael and Antonio is finally sort of it's been long since he's been there, but now he's sort of looks like he's settling into the Premier League ecosystem very very well. He really looked very good in the Tottenham game. He didn't get a goal or something, but he really looked good in phases. So I'm expecting that to be a good game. But again, it has to be a 3-1 to Manchester City.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Anurag, sorry, Kushagra,
Agree.
you talked
come
about
to
the
Vijay.
patches, right? You
Yeah.
talked about the
Yeah,
patches. I think the whole West Ham team is like that, not just the
Yeah.
stadium right now. They have been like fixing patches in some or the other ways, and the Man City defense is pretty similar in a way. But yeah, I think
It's like they want to get through
yeah,
that particular day by whatever.
yeah.
I
exactly.
think Man City get a clean sheet this game.
That would
Vijay,
be
I
what
great.
about
think
you? What do you think? Do you think Hammers could spring a surprise?
Did I think David Moyes could make a 3-0 deficit 3-3 against Mourinho's team? No, but did that matter? I don't
No,
think so.
exactly.
Yeah, so can you do it against Pep Guardiola? Yeah, because Guardiola is not better than Mourinho. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I don't care.
No. I think in the context that
you've
you mean,
opened the Pandora's
Man
box.
City are
No, no.
as capable of
Throwing up.
skittling away as
Yeah.
Tottenham did. I agree with
Yeah,
you.
Very much. Yeah. That's
and
true.
to be honest, my point I was trying to make is the equalizer is David Moyes because nobody cares, even though he did such a great victory or a draw. But I don't know, he nullifies everybody
Yeah.
that comes. But
Yeah,
I think,
you have players who are universally loved, like someone like Kante, or
yeah,
then you got managers no one likes, like even
he's the
Everton
black
fans don't
box
like.
of a manager.
Mhm.
Yeah, so yeah, so I guess
It's,
I think he can do it. If
It shows
anybody
yeah,
in
can,
one.
it's David
yeah, yeah,
Moyes. Yeah, I'd
yeah,
say
yeah,
one
yeah,
nil
of
to
course.
him.
Yeah, 1-0 to
Yep.
so yeah. I think
That is actually a
that
very
would be
much a
lovely.
possibility. That is very much a possibility.
I would
Because
Yeah.
I would absolutely love
love
it
it. Yeah.
with Susheel's prediction of City getting a clean sheet, West Ham get a clean sheet. So, like that would be flipping awesome.
yeah, that would be the
But
ultimate
yeah,
dream.
That'll
all,
really fit well with our my Pep agenda. So yeah, I
yeah. So yeah, once again, thank you so much, lads, for joining in. It's been a long day of recording here at the Sports Doin, and thank you so much for bearing with me and bearing with us. Prathamesh, Susheel, Vijay, and Anurag, please do take care, and thank you so much to all of the viewers. Please do share and subscribe to the channel, and also please do share the video around with your friends. Do let us know your thoughts in the comments, and once again, thank you so much for watching, and see you soon.